Alright, so everything you need is pretty much here. The essentials are you're going to need some soldering flux, you're going to need some electric soldering wire, preferably like something thick like this. The thin stuff might work, but it's better to thick. You're going to need some kind of torch. The propane works fine. You could probably use like a little butane one too. You need something for drilling or forming wood. I use a drill and a chisel. Need a block of wood, something thick, thicker than like a 1/4 inch. I have this nice real big thick piece that you can see I've used. And you'll need something to form and cut metal. You can use files, a hacksaw, you can use like an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and a Dremel is actually really nice for this kind of thing. It's really like good precise control, and a vise really helps too. I don't have a wire that needs fixing right now, but this is just a cable that I have sitting around. This was actually the push cable from the bike that I just fixed the pool cable on, and I only run a pool cable on that bike. You don't really need both, but I'm just going to cut this off and show you how to put a new end on it. I forgot to mention that you'll need something to clean off the cable with. I use acetone. I guess you could use rubbing alcohol, maybe brake cleaner, but acetone works well. And I usually just dip it in, let it sit, and just keep wiping it off, dipping it back in. You might want to like pull the frayed like wires apart a little bit, just to make sure all the like oil and grease is off, because you don't want any grease on there. So because you want the solder to adhere to all the wires and not slip off. Next, you'll want to find a drill bit that's similar to the size of the barrel that you're replacing. So preferably bigger, just a bit bigger is better, is good. So that looks alright. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill pretty much like a cross, make a channel going this way and that way, so one for the wire to lay in and one for the solder to get onto the wire. And I'm just going to use the same drill bit for all this, the one that's roughly the same size as the barrel, a little bit bigger than the barrel. Alright, so that looks pretty awful at the moment. What helps a lot is being able to use a chisel. If you're not a woodworker and you don't use chisels, well, it could help a lot in this moment. Alright, so that looks absolutely terrible. This whole piece just like chipped out here. It's not quite as nice as the other one I made, but I'm gonna give it a try anyway. All you really need to do is just get the solder into this channel right here, and then I'm gonna lay the wire or the cable right here, and I'm gonna stuff this all with flux. I might clean this out a little bit more just so there's no wood or anything. I want to blow it out real good too. Here's the flux. It's like a waxy paste, and just shove it in there. You can get this at like Lowe's or Home Depot. It's usually in like the plumbing or electrical section. And then get your cable ready. And this is just going to lay right in here. Like that. It's good if you can like rest it on something so you don't have to hold it, because you're going to need both hands for the next step. Yeah, and that didn't hold. Okay, so now I got the cable sitting nice in there. I'm gonna get my my solder wire ready. I got my torch in my other hand, and I'm pretty much just gonna light up and just let it drip in this channel here. And I'm not really gonna worry about where it goes. I can just shave it all off. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure it goes in this channel right here. So it's probably gonna get in there pretty good. I'm gonna have to, that might come out now. I'll probably chisel it out. Alright, so now we got a blob of solder stuck on it in this cable, and the rest is pretty much just forming it. I'll probably cut the ends off to like the length that it's supposed to be, and from there just forming it with either a file. The Dremel helps a lot, like shaving down along here, being careful not to damage the cable at all, and like making any frayed wires. But yeah, that's the next step. So the wood chisel worked pretty good, just cutting the ends off. Could have done that instead of using the hacksaw, but I mean it's pretty ugly right now, but it just takes a little bit of forming with either a file or a Dremel, so that's the next step. This is the one I made last weekend that I've been using and works fine, and it's just a little bit better fine-tuned. I don't really need to use this. I was just for demonstration purposes, but yeah, after you get the solder on there, it's just a matter of making it fit what you need. I'd use this if more of like a if I have to situation. If you're modifying a motorcycle and you need the cable shorter or something, you know, to cut it, then it works. I mean, looks pretty good. If your cable just snaps because it's old, just get a new one. If you got a stock bike, if I don't know, you're tight on money, or in a situation where you gotta get going and you could do this, if you got the materials around, go for it. It's not that hard. It took me maybe like an hour, half an hour to put together the other one. This is the one that I've been using, but it's not that hard. And yeah, hopefully this will help someone out.